When former UFC light heavyweight champion Jon Jones failed a performance-enhancing drug test prior to his rematch with Daniel Cormier at UFC 200, the MMA community exploded. For some, it was a moment they'd been waiting for, a chance to kick the controversial combatant while he was down. For others, it was a tragedy. A verified test result could mean a 2-year ban, 2 years, without the man that most consider the greatest light heavyweight and possibly the greatest mixed martial artist of all time. For all of us, it means coming to grips with yet another confusing bump in the winding road that is Jon Jones' life and career. The worst part is that a positive result casts Jones' legendary legacy into doubt. The incredible 4-fight win streak he compiled in 2011, the classic war with Alexander Gustafsson in 2013, the dominant victory over Daniel Cormier just last year. If Jones can't come up with a viable explanation for his drug test failure, if USADA's findings are validated, then who is to say that all of these performances weren't aided by PEDs? Time and again, Jones has proven himself to be utterly unknowable. Lacking the transparency of his counterparts, there is no way to look at Jon Jones and honestly give him the benefit of the doubt. People have often called Jon Jones fake, as if the real man is easily discerned beneath the facade of smiles and platitudes which Jones shows to the media. And while it is nearly impossible to watch or listen to Jon Jones for long without detecting a certain falseness, no one knows what the real Jon Jones is like. Perhaps not even Jon himself. Though not the simple villain that he has often been made out to be, Jones is complicated. He's the kind of man who brazenly hands his number to 2 waitresses at a restaurant despite the fact that he has 3 daughters with his fiancée, and despite the fact that he's sitting down for an interview with Deadspin's Greg Howard at that very moment. He is the kind of man who heroically chases down a purse snatcher just hours before his first crack at the UFC title. He is the kind of man who slams his rental car into the car of a pregnant woman and then flees the scene on foot, only to return minutes later to retrieve a wad of cash from the vehicle. He is the kind of man who sets up a prank brawl with Anthony Johnson during a press conference stare-down just for a laugh. Jon Jones is goofy and cruel, affable and narcissistic. He is the kind of man who knows, without a shred of doubt, how great he is, and only yearns for others to acknowledge that fact. If anything should come from this situation, let it be a reminder that greatness comes at a cost. Many of history's greatest people have been, in some sense, savants. To so fully dedicate oneself to a single aim seems to require sacrifices in other aspects of the personality. Historians have theorized that Albert Einstein was autistic, a brilliant scientist and mathematician who struggled with social interactions and performed poorly in school. Vincent van Gogh was famously depressed throughout his brilliant but brief artistic career. History is riddled with men and women who seem to have achieved their artistic and intellectual greatness either despite troubled minds or because of them. For many fans, this notion wouldn't make it any easier to root for Jon Jones. The strange attitude, the immature sense of humor, the traffic accidents, and apparent infidelity, there's too much standing between Jon Jones and the average person for either to connect with the other. Until now, however, we can view that inherent oddness as the price of Jones' greatness. Jon Jones is no less a fascinating character today than he was a year ago, but the potential reward of his erratic behavior, the burgeoning legend that was his fighting career, is now cast into doubt. Logic would suggest that Jones is not the only champion in combat sports using performance enhancers, if he truly is, and it is entirely possible that had Jones been using his entire career, any one of his opponents could have been doing the same. But it's the certainty that hurts Jon Jones the worst. Throughout his whirlwind career, it seems the only things we have been able to say for certain about the man have been negative ones. These test results have yet to be verified, but with Jon Jones, the strangest and greatest athlete in MMA, it has always been all too easy to assume the worst.